A lot of people, even people that think you respect or like going on TV, like, and just feeding into the narrative. I'll tell you one person. I haven't talked to him much since. Stephen A. Smith really pissed me off. And the reason he pissed me off was because he hit me. He's like, yo, it's been hard for a lot of us to talk about you these last few days. And, for me, I'm like, okay, it's been hard for me to watch, but I'm watching it because I want to see everything that everybody has to say. Stephen A., anytime I meet someone and they say something about you, it's never like, yo, I like him. He cool. It's always like, man, that dude, he a character, he's this, he's that. And I always say back, I actually know the guy. I'm like, the guy is actually a cool dude. Like, I know, like, you can take what you want from the TV screen, but I actually know the guy. He's a cool dude and a real dude. And then you get the opportunity to talk about, man, listen, I know you got a job to do. I know you got to do your thing and say what you got to say. But at not one point did you say, well, y'all are saying this person is up and this person need help. Now, I know the person. Say what you want about the basketball player, that's fine. But I know the person. And by the way, it just wasn't him. To sit back and see those that claim to know and appreciate me as a human being just flow with the narrative because it was easy to do, I lost a lot of respect for a lot of people.
All right, Essay, let me give some context, obviously. So that was Draymond Green speaking recently, of course, on Shaq's podcast. And he was talking about reactions to his indefinite suspension, which happened earlier this season. Essay, floor is yours.
I'm very lucky. I'm very, very lucky. I'm very blessed. A lot of great things have happened for me in my life, my career, et cetera, et cetera. And I'm lucky because I had the luxury of seeing this for the first time this morning. Had that been yesterday, and I would have seen it before I taped my podcast, let's just say my delivery and my presentation would have been far more acerbic than it's about to be. Stephen A. Smith show, had I done that yesterday, had I seen that yesterday, it'd have been a problem. Because Draymond Green just went on a national podcast with Shaquille O'Neal, my brother, and said that he lost respect for me. Well, I've now lost respect for him. I love this brother. I got mad love for Draymond Green. I have an abundance of receipts where I can show you, and Molly, you can be a testament to this.
Okay.
How many times have I spoken up for Draymond Green? It's been countless times. This man has been ejected from games 20 times in his career. Only Rasheed Wallace, another brother of mine, has been ejected for more games in his NBA career. In a 4-month span, 9 months. In a 9-month span last year, Draymond Green was suspended 4 times. And when he hit Nurkic, it was me that was on the air. You can attest to this, Molly. When you had people talking about anger management, talking about he needs help.
Yeah.
Talking about all these things. I was the one that said, yo, that's going too damn far. I was the one that had a problem with Kevin Durant saying, quote, I hope he gets the help he needs. I said, that's a brother, that's another teammate. You know he's a black man. You know what that connotates. How are you going to say something like that? And then a month later was the chokehold on Rudy Gobert. And at that moment in time, I surmise this sound that I'm going to call for right now is what Draymond Green was alluding to. Could y'all play that, please? Listen, you know me. You know how I feel about the brother. I would look for any excuse that I could to defend him because I believe in him character-wise, but his actions have sullied all of that. There's no way around this. The reality is he seems like he is out of control, and I hate that. And my level of sensitivity heightens even more so as a black man, because last time they were bringing up anger management issues, and that just pissed me off. You understand? Because I don't like giving credence to stuff like that. But when one incident after another happens, the reality is that somebody like Jay Williams comes along, man. You have a good point, bro. Nobody can argue with Jay Williams at this particular moment in time with what he's saying, because he has the evidence to back it up. There's a preponderance of evidence against Draymond Green. Now, 19th ejection of his career. What's the problem with that? Put Molly up on the screen.
Yeah, Rudy Gobert was first, then Nurkic. I get your
yes,
point.
Yes, Rudy Gobert was first.
I just want to make sure, because people are going to mince words there.
Right. I'm saying,
yeah.
What was the problem?
Obviously, the part that you highlighted, Stephen A., about the anger management and how you were sensitive to that, being a black man and not wanting to give credence. I mean, we all heard that piece right there. So I'm assuming what triggered him was you saying that he was out of control, but I think you were referring to just the incidents on the court where he was continuing to get the ejections, correct?
Not just that. He also told the league office he felt like he needed to get himself together, that he wasn't right. I know this because as I tried to educate folks weeks ago, when you had Steven Jackson calling me a snitch because I called up the league office about Russell Westbrook, I didn't call them to suspend Russell Westbrook. I called because we had NBA countdown in an hour. The Clippers game was our game. Russell Westbrook hadn't been suspended, and I was asked to find out what were the details behind the decision. That's my job. We're on First Take. We have about 12 to 15 segments a day, about 70 to 75 takes a week.
Yeah.
I give over 3,000 takes a year. You would think I'm not going to make everybody happy with every single syllable that comes out of my mouth, but I pride myself on being fair. I pride myself on being a human being. I know that Draymond Green has 4 beautiful kids. I know that he has a lovely wife. I know that his mom is wonderful. I know that his inner circle is everything. I know that about him, which is why I've spoken up religiously for him on his behalf on many occasions without him asking, because I know the brother personally and I believe in him. I think he's going to be a star in this industry. I think his podcast is great. I think his future is bright.
Right there, actually, because one thing I think I remember when we had this conversation, I'm not trying to interrupt your flow here, Stephen A., just work with me, is that when we were initially having this conversation, one of the things you said is that you were concerned because his future is so bright, not only on the basketball court, but also in media, that he could become such a superstar that this could cost him and affect him. And that was one of the points that you had made initially.
Yes. And that's one of the points that I still make. And so for you to go on a podcast, now listen, Draymond and I'll never hate him. I'll never have anything but love for him. But I don't respect what he did. You know my number. You've spoken to me before. Why am I hearing about it on Shaq's podcast? It would have been nice for Shaq to follow up and say, yo, this Stephen A. you talking about. This brother always defends you. It would have been nice for Shaq to do that, but that's, he does what he does. And you know what? He's not a journalist like I am, so I get that. I understand that. Just like I'm not a Hall of Fame all-time great like he is. I understand that. I'm just simply saying, the important point to point out is, we talk about being men. I'm not hard to find. Draymond could have called me up. Draymond could have had a conversation with me. I don't need to find that out on Shaq's podcast when the world knows when he is wrong. I did not do that. You're going to take a soundbite? You know how much stuff I've said positive about Draymond Green? You know how many times I've come to the defense of Draymond Green about his character in the league office, in media, in the newsroom, on podcasts, on various interviews that I've done? I have never, ever failed to support him. And all I'm saying is that if you're going to have a problem with me, let a brother know. Why am I finding out because of a podcast from Shaq 6 months or whenever it was after all of this happened?
To be fair, did you call him, since you guys clearly had a relationship, did you call him before you were going to speak about him?
What you talking about? Did I call before?
I'm saying,
I always text a call. I always text a call.
That's what I'm making sure, because if you're saying he owed me that courtesy, Shaq or him owed you that courtesy, did you give him that courtesy?
I always call a text. That's number one. Number two, I'm not saying I was owed it. I'm saying if you have a problem with me, it would be nice to find out from you that you have a problem with me, which brings me to my bigger point, Molly. There's a lot of guys that played in the league, and I'm watching all of these podcasts. And so much of them I have respect for and I root for them and what have you. But there's a lot of damn liars out there. Guys that say that they had confrontations with you and it never happened. Guys that say that you've done this or that and they don't have any receipts to back it up. And how many journalists, how many pundits, Molly, do you know that says what I say? Name the time and place and I'll show up. What are you talking about? It's a lie. You know how many times I really wish, because I know a lot of things that are said behind my back. I know what star players who will remain nameless have done to try to get me fired from this industry, to try to undermine me, undercut me, because I was doing my job and reporting on the information. I know a lot of stuff that a lot of people don't know, and they don't know that I know. And I know who those damn hypocrites are. I'm not saying that's Draymond, because that's not him. But I know who a lot of them are. And they know I know them, which is why we don't talk much, because they're full of it. And I'll tell them to their face. But in the end, what it comes down to is this. When I say name the time and place and I'll show up, if you have credence to your argument, you should have no problem being in a public platform with me right there to defend myself, saying what you say. They don't take me up on it because they know they full of it. And I never thought in my wildest dreams that I would ever be on national television at any moment in my career and believe that I would be able to associate Draymond Green with something flagrantly inaccurate about my position on a player, specifically him. He is wrong. I have defended Draymond Green on countless occasions, especially when it came to his character. You can't defend the suspensions. You can't defend the acts that you see on camera in front of the television, whatever. But when you try to take that and parlay that into a conversation about his character, knowing the quality of a man that he is. I love this brother as a brother. I think he's a great person. I think he's phenomenal, and I think he's a high character individual, but he looked out of control at times on the basketball court. I have said that. I have never said anything more than that. You got my podcast, you got First Take, you got a plethora of platforms, plethora excessive, yes, that's appropriate here. There's a plethora of platforms. It's like, yo, I can't believe that I have to deal with that.
Essay. Let me just say this to summarize, right? Because we addressed a lot beyond, and then we'll get into some basketball. But essentially, the big takeaway I get from this is, obviously, you're in a tough position, right? You have to give your opinion on a lot of subjects, and sometimes you have personal relationships with people. That you always give people a heads up, you shoot them a text, you let them know, they can talk to you first, and after the fact, if anyone has an issue, that they can always find you, they can always reach out to you, you're happy to sit down, you're happy to address it privately or publicly. Is that accurate?
That's totally accurate. And by the way, I haven't changed my number in 20 years.
Okay,
I haven't changed my number in 20 years
so
because
everyone knows that. And I understand that this one was a little more personal for you because of the relationship and the respect you have for Draymond. And I'm sure and Draymond felt the exact same way. So I hope you guys chop it up and squash everything.